friend and partner in 3D Implant Institute, Dr. Hardeek Patel. I've got to know Hardeek over the last 8 years. We share some common interests. We are on board members of the American Academy of Clear Aligners, and from that journey and that relationship in clear aligners, we've developed a great friendship and our love and our interest for dental implantology. Hardeek practices in New Jersey, in Edison, New Jersey, has a beautiful family with 2 kids, and is dedicated to implant dentistry. I've seen his growth and his career, and what I really attracted about Hardeek and impressed is his ability to help other people and his desire to improve other people's knowledge and understanding in so many aspects of dentistry. So I'm proud to call him a colleague, and we're excited to be here in Kochi to be a part of the World Dental Implant Expo. And it's been a good meeting so far. And yeah, Hardeek, what else you got to say?
And he's my brother,
Yeah.
giant, tall Aman Bhullar from San Jose. Typically a Canuck from Canada, loves hockey.
Yeah.
The first Indian I saw who loves ice hockey, but that's besides the point. He's a gentle giant. Moved to U.S. about 7 years?
2017. Yeah.
2017,
Okay.
so it's about 7 years.
Yep.
We met in Costa Rica. We met in Costa Rica on a happy hour.
Yeah, I would say probably 2015 or so.
Yeah.
I was practicing in Vancouver at the time, and we were in San Jose, Costa Rica.
Yeah, San Jose, Costa Rica.
And at an Invisalign facility there as key opinion leaders with Invisalign and American Academy of Clear Aligners, and our friendship has ever grown from that, from clear aligners now to implants, and now helping doctors across the world with implant education and implant understanding.
Yep,
And,
it's been a journey. It's been a journey.
Yeah, it sure has.
We've been to how many different places of part of the
Oh,
world?
my gosh.
Mexico, Brazil,
Yeah.
Costa Rica, Bahamas,
Yeah,
Jamaica.
yeah, Jamaica.
We experienced earthquakes, a
tsunami.
tsunami.
You know.
What else? We had Kobe Bryant die on one of the trips.
Yeah, when that happened.
And right after was the earthquake, the same day.
Yeah, that was an interesting experience in the Bahamas.
And I've been to his family. His dog loves me more than him.
Yeah, I think so. Mickey likes Hardeek. And we both got to, and this is what a great opportunity, that camaraderie that our field offers. I've been to his home, he's been to my place. We've shared a lot together, and just having a brotherhood and someone that can understand is dentistry can be a very isolating field and profession. And when we work together in the communities that have been built, in today's day and age, any dentist should not be isolated across the world. There's a lot of opportunities for help, assistance, whether it be just someone to talk to, someone to bounce an idea off when you have a challenging day. We often get isolated in our practices thinking that, hey, I'm the only one that's having a bad day today, or why is all my situations challenged or failing today, or this week has been tough for me. And having this type of relationship, even with so many of the doctors we mentor, just to pick up the phone, give a call, hey, I'm having this challenge. Have you seen this happen? And often, yeah, that's happened to me too, and we can work through a solution and help improve the care we can provide our patients and just take a load off of our mind. And I think in this age of social media and interaction and WhatsApp.
So I remember the days before Facebook was there.
Yeah.
Right. That dentistry was really interesting.
Yeah.
We had zero support.
Yeah.
You're working in a cubicle in a corner.
Yeah.
And something goes wrong, and you automatically think it's your fault.
Yeah.
Right. And I believe social media has a great effect on our practices.
I agree.
I think if you take good out of it, there's a lot more to learn and share from.
Yeah.
How do you think your journey in implant dentistry has been so far?
I agree with you with that description, right? I call it a 10 by 10 cell. Most operatories are about that size, and you're in isolation. You're in these practices. You've got overheads to maintain. You've got staff issues. You've got supply. You've got someone calling in sick. A hygienist isn't showing up to work. You've got challenges at home that are happening. And you can get really lost and sidetracked. And so I graduated from dental school in 2004. I was exposed to implant surgery in 2005 with Dr. Mark Kwan in Vancouver, a really strong educator. And from there, my love of implantology has started since then. And I would say my first 12 to 13 years of implantology had been very a moderate pace of application. But in 2017, when we made the decision to move from Canada and relocate to California, was a huge leap for my journey in implantology. Yeah. And with your guidance and your encouragement, again, as our friendship, you set me on a path to pursue the excellence in implant dentistry and not give up until we kept, and that's what brings us to coaching, you know, here. And so that journey has been long, it's continuing. But I mean, the trying to establish excellence every day and trying to get better with every case, every documentation, every picture we take, you know, it has been very key. How about for you? What do you think? How's your
I've
journey?
been doing implants since 2006.
Yeah.
I started with a small mini course of 3 days and jumped right in.
Yeah.
And as you know me, I like to experiment different things.
Yeah, that you do.
So I've been doing that. It's been a steady pace. I learned from my failures. Not that I'm proud of them, but failures is your best teacher.
Yeah.
So I failed a lot of times, which is why I'm here and I can talk about it.
You stand back up and when you fail, you know.
It's been interesting. So when I met you, I wasn't going to do any credentialing because I was done with my exams. I said, I'm done. I don't want to give any more exams. I'm done.
You went to dental school twice.
Yeah, I did. I
Right?
did the dental school twice, and I didn't really want to do. I did not want to prove to anybody else that I need those letters behind my name.
Yeah.
And then you came along, like, oh no, you got to do it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And then we started studying, and we made up that mind, and then COVID.
Yeah. Yeah, we were studying hard for our exams, and he ignited my fire in implantology when we moved to the U.S. And in Canada, we had established practices from scratch. So we had a young clientele, younger families, typical to us in our age group. And then when we came to the U.S. and to California, we moved into a saturated market, and we bought existing practices that have been established for 30 to 40 years. And that brought a whole different clientele.
Yes.
Failing dentistry, older clientele. It had different challenges, but it had a lot of benefits too. These patients had invested in dentistry.
Yes.
And as we mentioned today during this meeting is that dentistry, implant dentistry, all dentistry will fail, okay? Mm-hmm. The human body is very dynamic and a biological organ. And our products and services we provide are there's a time limit to it. And our goal is to be as long as possible. So you ignited my fire to do that, and as I said, I said, hey, no, we got to do this credentialing, and then our journey started for our credentialing experience in 2019, and it has just exploded since then. And COVID was sort of put a damper on things, but it also provided us an opportunity to help other people and other dentists.
Well, I look at it a little bit differently. COVID set up on a different path. Like, I did not have any plans of teaching implants, neither did you probably. No. And how we started this webinar series, never done one before. Yeah. Right, that was the first webinar series that we came up with. Yeah. And I can't believe, in 4 years? Yeah. It's been a completely different path. Yeah. Where we started from, and now we're going into the AID Mexico course. Yeah. It's been a lot of experiences that came along the way that made me a better surgeon. Yeah. Did you get the same experiences of learning by teaching others? Yeah.
I agree. I mean, it was, as you mentioned, I had no indication that we'd be helping doctors and patients. And as a single clinician, we can only help so many patients in our practice in a limited amount of time that we have in our practices. But to have a good solid foundation We've got great mentors that have provided us our journey. And now I feel like us paying it forward has been really rewarding professionally. My practice sometimes suffers, and we leave our families for long periods of time to travel and help other doctors with education. But that satisfaction that we see with doctors understanding these basic concepts has been very rewarding. And you're right. I think that journey of education is modifying and is changing along the way for us. But yeah, that webinar series just came out of the blue. We started that before webinars went crazy during COVID. We were one of the first ones, and then
before Zoom was even popular, that we started those webinars.
If you remember that story, I work in San Jose, Silicon capital of the world, and one of my receptionist's daughter worked for this company called Zoom, and she needed a night guard, and we made a trade. I was like, give me an unlimited membership. I think I'm going to start something. And she goes, fine, I'll give you an unlimited membership, and I gave her a night guard, and it was a good trade because from that one experience, we've sort of flourished into having these opportunities to help lots of people.
So, well, remember, we only planned to do a couple of webinars, and the people kept on asking, where's the next one? We have nothing else to do.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, no, okay, I'll just make the slides, and we'll do another webinar.
Yeah.
And then I still remember we had like 400 people on webinars.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
it was before everyone got webinar overload.
COVID tired.
Yeah, COVID tired and Zoom tired when people were first early on in March and April and May. And then by June, July, everyone was just sort of tired of that. It was the novelty of it had worn off. But we had got our message across, and it developed a platform for us, very collegial. I mean, we received so much expression appreciation for just the grassroots of discussion, and we're not charging anything for these things. It's free advice, free review of someone's case to give them some input. We don't have all the answers, but we'll try to help someone that's stuck in a ditch. Maybe let's pull them out. Give them a pat on the back and get them out and get them back on track. And I think that's been we've seen so many doctors flourish over the last 4 or 5 years with these protocols that we're implementing. The predictable protocols that we really want to instill with the doctors that are learning to acquire new skills.
Absolutely. And coming back to India, I mean, I went to dental school here, so I have a.
You went to dental school here and then in NYU.
I have relationship with the country.
Yes.
And then you were born in Canada.
Yeah.
Obviously, you have no relationship in terms of education.
Yes.
Here, this is the first time I believe here for you to come and teach.
Yeah. I did a small lecture last year in Manali, just outside of Chandigarh. I did a small study club when I was visiting in India. My family's from the north in Punjab, and it's a different experience for me to come here than you, definitely. But it's still very rewarding for me to come back to a country where my dad left in 1971 and to seek a better life for his family, and then to come back and share as a professional sort of the experiences that we have here.
So for me, my father was a teacher.
Yeah.
And he loved to give back to community.
Yeah.
And when I come and see all these doctors eager to learn from our failures, essentially.
Yeah.
I mean, I know because I failed.
Yeah.
And I feel like we can shorten their failure rates or how often they need to fail.
Yeah.
Learning from our failures. I mean, I've failed many times, and sometimes I sat down like, okay, what could I have done differently?
Yeah.
And that's what brought me on this journey of C courses. Mm-hmm. And that's how I met Dr. Sankar Iyer.
Yeah.
Where did you meet him first?
One of our common mentors that we've had has been Dr. Jim Rutowski. And Dr. Rutowski has been a big supporter with Dr. Iyer and their relationship, and just constantly saying, you got to meet Shankar, you got to meet Shankar. And through that introduction, I think has been very key. And as you mentioned, like we stand on the shoulders of titans to be able to do what we do, right? Doctors that have set the path, that have set their experiences, and wanting them to share that knowledge and experience. As you know, in dental school, I know in India, well, I don't know, I never went to school in India, But I know in dental schools across the U.S., and I'm sure it's similar to India, it's a struggle. I mean, it's a war. They're just trying to beat you up through undergrad education in dental schools, right? It's a survival. It's a survival to get through to the finish line. And that mindset is difficult. And then now when we deal with doctors that have graduated and want to learn, just genuinely want to learn and are taking time away out of their practices, we're thankful to people like that have led us to our path.
Correct.
And yeah, we only want to help that. Like you said, I think that shortening that gap of mistakes and failure and complications is the goal.
So, going back to my dental schools, my first dental school I started in 1993. So it's over 30 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Incredible. Yeah.
And education that I received here in India was very well balanced. Mm-hmm. It set me a really solid foundation that I could build upon later on in life. I feel that there is so much potential in students that are here.
Yeah.
If they're going to dental school, if I have to do everything over again, I will do it, but I will put a lot more focus on just going to the clinics and observing different things, how it works out. I feel like I wasted a lot of time partying. You know, obviously you're in a dental school, away from the family, and then you have this newfound freedom that you want to experience. But going back, if there's any dental student watching, go to your clinics, go see what's happening, and you will learn a lot by observing.
Yeah.
I feel like that component of dental education should be made compulsory for everybody to see and experience. Mm-hmm. I feel like that's not focused enough on that aspect. But I mean, it's been a great journey so far.
Yeah, and the more you learn, the less you realize you don't know what you don't know. And I think these kinds of meetings are very, very helpful because it brings another perspective of something, and having these global sort of summits and these global opportunities to share with so many great clinicians that are here. I mean, the number of doctors I've met here that have had training overseas and have come back to India and bringing those skills back to here, to this robust and dynamic country, is pretty amazing. So, it's not a one-way learning experience. There's definitely stuff that we're taking back from here that are going to make us better clinicians when we go back to our practices. So, and I think that's the beauty of these meetings and the colleagues that you meet and the willingness of everyone to share.
So now let's go back to the education part. Now that we're part of AID Maxi course, and now we're building the curriculum. What do you think that places if somebody wants to choose education?
Yeah.
What do you think that Maxi course will give to those students or doctors who's coming, dedicating their time away from the families and the practices and losing money?
Yeah.
Do you think a Maxi course would be a good choice for them to start a foundation on a solid base?
Yeah, I mean, the challenge with implant education, I believe for most dentists, is that in undergrad education, in dental school education in North America, or probably even in the U.S., across the world, is that there's a battle between prosthetics, perio, oral surgery. Who's going to do these cases? And these postgraduate departments and clinics are wanting to get that hands-on experience. And so at a dental school level education, in a 4-year DMD or DDS program, you're getting very limited exposure to implantology. So we've been challenged with trying to create a curriculum that provides the foundations to have success. I mean, we do hands-on courses, as you know. We do them in Brazil. We just ran a couple successful zygomatic and high-level zygomatic and pterygoid level training educations, soft tissue courses. Hands-on, I mean, everyone wants to do hands-on. We do a great course in Mexico with hands-on opportunities for doctors. But the foundation is the key and is the knowledge that we want our doctors to get. And I think the Maxi course curriculum that we've created, we've taken a year to have this our first program with the University of Buffalo. So we've created that first model. We've learned a lot. We've changed a lot. So we're trying to be very dynamic in what we bring to our program in Dallas. There's other Maxi courses across the U.S. and across the world. I think our focus that we've really streamed on, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, with our third partner, also with Michael Tran, who's out of Houston, is to really focus on the digital evolution in implant dentistry and dentistry that's happening. I mean, yes, we need to know the foundations of analog workflow, and we had a good discussion with a oral maxillofacial surgeon that's talking about the challenges, oral maxillofacial prosthetic surgeon, and just the challenges that they're facing, that those fundamentals in analog workflow are being lost. And as we were talking about technology earlier today, you still need to have that foundation, and you do need to have that foundation before you do hands-on. And I think having that foundation is key, because in that course that you do, a 2 or 3 day course or a 4 day course of doing implants, you only may get one variation of a sinus lift, okay? And if you don't understand the biology and the principles behind a sinus lift or a ridge augmentation or a GBR, if you don't understand the science and the application of it and have that basis, you're not going to get that exact same case when you go back to your practice in 3 weeks.
So I believe when you do these fundamental courses, I believe you get the knowledge of what not to do, I think, because foundation will teach you the possible outcomes of something that you do before you do it. And I think when I went back and then did my Maxi course again under Dr. Hill Tatum, I picked up that biology will always win.
Yeah.
No matter how hard you try to modify, the human body will go back to the basic biology. And I think it's the fundamentals of the form and the function of the cell to the cellular level.
Yeah.
I think that matters a lot in terms of predictability of the outcomes.
Yeah.
Do you think?
And that part, just to stop on it before he goes next slide, is that part isn't very sexy, okay? To talk about the biology and the breakdown of cells and bones and that level of detail. But we need to have doctors understand that those fundamentals are going to drive their success for decades, okay? When they follow up on these cases. Instagram, immediate results, 1 day, 2 day, 3 day photos look great, okay? But how do these cases look 5 years, 10 years down the road? And if you understand the biology and you respect the biology, yes, you can try to enhance it, augment it, but as you mentioned, the body's going to win, okay? So if I think that's the key part of why I think that extensive program is so key. I mean, we had doctors come on our 3 day courses, and they're like 4 day courses, and they want to go from 0 to 100 in like 3 days. And it's like, okay, you need to, as much as we'd like to help you, but please slow down and understand. We're talking, 2006, 2005, you started your journey?
Yeah.
And I'm still, I think, in the infancy of my journey, starting in 2006 to 23. It's a lifelong process.
It's the generational change, I believe. Everything needs to be instant now.
Yeah, it's true.
Right? Everything's Amazon Prime, right?
Yeah.
I think eventually somebody's going to order the babies from Amazon Prime too. Hey, I want a baby. Order me too.
I can't do it in 9 months. It has to be shorter. I need it next week. My mom's coming into town, and they bug me, and they want to have a baby. What can we do?
I just want a ready-made family.
Right.
Just drop it off tonight.
Yeah, hey, could happen.
I think that's why this shift in generation. I mean, I still remember going back to my tape days where we used to wind the cassette tape trying to get to the particular song. Or we had to return the cassette to the Blockbuster. And if you didn't reverse it, they would charge you.
It's extra money, yeah.
I believe I've seen enough change in implant dentistry to know what works, what may work, what should not work. When we go through these meetings and when we meet other colleagues and stuff like that, we exchange ideas.
Yeah.
And we learn how things can be modified Do you find that that's also true for your side?
I mean, I agree. I mean, you see different ideas, and it is important to open your parachutes, as someone was sharing on the stage, and to open your mind and to see, just because you don't think it can be done, it's to see other people's examples, and then to share some of the challenges they're having, and then like you were talking on that stage, you may have a case in 2 weeks that, oh yeah, I remember that guy, and then you're going to look up the articles and look up the information to find out if that might be applicable to what your scenario you're dealing with. And I think that's why this is a fascinating time to be an implant dentist or join, the movement in implant dentistry, and to be able to distinguish yourself apart from the doctors that are doing implants. I mean, no one is claiming to be better than other people, I hope, and every individual is different, but as we strive for credentialing, I think it sort of sets a basis for you to have a discussion with another professional.
I believe the credentialing process will change your mindset, or anybody who's taking the examination process.
Yeah.
Because now you're forced to think and defend your choices for the patient.
Yeah.
It may be right choice, it may not be right choice, who knows?
Yeah.
But just to start asking questions about what did I do, or why did I end up with this, or how did I can come back from here.
Yeah.
I think that will change the point of view from looking at those cases for I mean, the past cases, some cases I have done,
Yeah.
I'm not proud of them.
No.
I mean, are they functional? Yeah, they're functional.
Yeah.
I could have done better job at it, 100%.
Yeah.
And today, after every surgery, when I sit back and rehearse what just happened, I always come back with 50 things that I could have done differently.
Yeah.
I feel like more I know, more I don't know.
I agree. And I think a lot of people are like, oh, I just want the letters behind my name. I just want the letters behind, but you're not doing it for the right reasons, people. Then you learning how to take documentation and critically analyzing your cases makes you so much better. As you mentioned, after we do a case, I mean, we're both investing in high definition operatory cameras integrated into our overhead lights, because we want to be able to critique our cases, because when you're working, you see some things that are running through your mind, but when you can look back at it in 5 years, in 3 years, and review the information that why those outcomes are coming that you're seeing happening in your cases and how to improve. And I think that's what we should try to strive to do for every one of our patients. And so I think that journey with accreditation and having a continuum of building block of education is so important, because so many doctors just take 2 here, take a little bit there, I'll learn from there. And there's a lot of gaps in that education. And I think the program that we've developed in Dallas has really tried to address that from the A to Z, fill in all the gaps. Our program is going to be talking about something in advance as zygomatics and pterygoids.
So what are your goals for 3D Implant Institute? What do you think should happen next with that?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I mean, I think it's a constant evolution that we're seeing in our project that we've created, that is evolving constantly. As we get to meet more people and we get more dentists, we want to continue to build credibility with the dentists, that we are in the trenches, we're working alongside these students of the game as advisors, as mentors to them, and knowing that we're having these same challenges as they have, and hopefully give them an opportunity to bounce an idea off and show them a skill that maybe they're not so comfortable in. And I hope 3D Implant Institute maintains that personal connection and that collegial camaraderie with our participants. I know as that's harder and harder to do as we have more and more enrollees and more doctors.
So let me ask you the most important question in dentistry, and that comes up on the chat and social media. What implant is that? Do you have
The magic one?
Do you have some suggestions that implant companies should do or dentists should do trying to minimize that scenario? I mean, implants placed 20 years ago, now people cannot identify what implant it is.
Yeah.
And it's in the mouth, it's functional, right?
Yeah.
And now, first question, what implant is this? I cannot find dentists who did it.
Yeah.
Well, I feel, I mean, that's a problem that's just going to multiply in next 15, 20 years because there's so many more implants being placed. What we're seeing now is from 10 years ago when they were not that common.
Yeah.
And now
the manufacturers are changing designs every 3-4 months. There's a new connection, a new thread type, a new platform. Correct. I mean, I think you're the king of what implant is it.com.
Because I've used so many implants that I've used.
Hardeek, what implant? Oh, this is internal X. This is BioHorizon. Oh, this is Ankylos. This is Nobel Trilo. This is external hex. I mean, it just your mind. I don't know. Like you said, I think we need to monetize that. You should get a nickel.
I put down on the chat like $10 per implant identified.
I think you'd be a billionaire if you got 10. I think if you got a nickel for each one, it'd be okay too.
I think there has to be a way for mandatory for manufacturers to create an X-ray image, how it looks in the bone.
Yeah.
Store it in a central database with FDA, with the government.
Yeah.
And people should be able to go back and compare to that database.
Yeah.
Rather than depending on social media or people like me. I mean, I'm happy to help as much as I can.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like with generic implants coming into the market, it's going to be harder and harder to maintain that knowledge.
I think you're right. Like you said, 20 years ago, there were 10 implant manufacturers maybe across the world that supplied probably 95% of the implants.
You go out there's like 15 right there outside.
I know, that I've never even heard of the names of, right? So, I mean, and you're right, that to mill titanium out of a metal cylinder or metal rod is not very difficult. And you can go onto eBay and find implants that are being made. And so I think you're right. I think there needs to be some type of regulatory body that requires some type of library to be stored and to be available for doctors. And then I think doctors need to we need to have a movement of doctors of providing on a USB or drive or something to our patients. And obviously patients are going to lose it. We can't rely on patients to keep this data. But we should be moving to that mindset of providing a medical record to our patients as they move and they retire and they go to another practice down the street. Dentist retires. The advent of more digital records, I think, is going to be helpful in dentistry, so that you can find stuff up. Hopefully, the doctors are at least keeping digital records organized, which is a lot easier than paper charts. But there's really no mandate on that, and I think that would be a great evolution, because as you're right, the problems are just going to. I think we're just seeing the tip of the iceberg with the implant manufacturers and options that are being made, and I think this problem is going to be something that is going to be around for decades and decades to come.
So we were meeting the colleagues outside from Bangladesh and Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
And so
Egypt here.
Do you?
WIE.
They want you to go.
Yeah.
Do you want to go?
Yeah. Well, yeah. We've got some invitations to Bangladesh and Sri Lanka and Egypt. I mean, I would love to go. I mean, this has been. I mean, the collegial relationships in implantology are great, and just the willingness of people to share and learn, and meeting so many great personalities across the world, and it would be great to go. I'm not sure if my wife is going to be allowing me to continue to be away a lot. I know you're always under the gun too. I mean, we've got responsibilities at home too, but I have to say it's been a great journey. I think it will continue to be an enjoyable experience. I think the more you put in, and even as a practitioner into our practice, the more you put in, the more rewarding it'll be for you. And not just financially, but just with your time and your just satisfaction of what you get from helping people. I mean, I know you're helping lots of patients from across the Northeast coming to your practice because other doctors have said no, and you're finding solutions for these patients, and that's incredible.
Well, I mean, it's what my practice is doing now is more of a reconstruction work of the construction already been done.
Yeah.
And in future, I believe we're going to have a lot more of these types of reconstruction necessary for these patients.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it's important for us to be ahead of the curve,
Yes.
trying to find solutions for the things that are to come.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot more all-on-X's being done now. Some are in great condition, some may not be in great condition. And in that's 5-10 years, we're going to have to do second or third round of surgeries for these patients. And I believe we, as educators, we have to maintain a very high level of solutions available for these patients.
Yeah.
And I think with our digital workflow that we develop, we keep modifying after every course.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what keeps us more ahead of the curve, let's say. Like when we did our first course in Tijuana with the pick and eye metric.
Yes. Yeah, well, there are not a lot of people happy that we did that from the manufacturers, but I think it's very important to provide unbiased opinions. And you're right. I think as more implants are being placed, as populations are getting older, more practitioners are placing more implants, the level of complications, peri-implantitis, are just going to continue to increase. And revision surgeries for the second or third time are going to continue to happen. And I mentioned it during my presentation today, that these full mouth all-on-X types of services and restorations are becoming so popular. I think it's a time for the profession to take a step back and just to look at, hey, is this the right thing for the patient? How's this going to look in 20 years from now, 15, 20, 30 years? And what stage will this patient be in their life? And what are the solutions that we're going to have? I mean, there's been a whole circle. We spoke to a doctor that's doing sub-periosteal implants earlier today, using the latest in metal printing and metal laser sintering to create sub-periosteal implants. So, I mean, innovations are going to continue to happen in dentistry and implant dentistry, but I think we need to continue to maintain conservative approaches for care for patients. Yeah. And I think that's sort of getting lost somewhere in some of the things that practitioners want to do, what dentists want to do, what they want to do.
Well, because it's sexy and you can post on social media. Hey, I did
nice.
this case. Now I need some 50 likes and 50 shares and I don't know what else is out there now. And so I see a lot of dental offices posting on Instagram, staff dancing around and doing different things. Yeah. My staff, like me, I don't move. I'm lazy.
I mean,
I feel as a profession, we're reaching to a level where a doctor has to dance in order to get attention of the patient. I think that's going to up to a point which is kind of like being absurding now. Yeah. I mean, how many heart surgeons do you see dancing on Instagram? Yeah. How many orthopedic doctors do you see dancing on Instagram? Yeah. Not that there's anything wrong with it.
I can do good bhangra.
Well, you won the championship.
There you go. No, I mean, you're right. I mean, and this is where I think the profession is, I mean, sometimes professionalism in our profession is changing so much that, and this is, I think this is through just not in dentistry, but we're seeing this in all social media, right? Whether it be teens, whether it be adults looking for that instant gratification, or someone to see what we're doing is neat and to be relevant. It's, I think that's more of a human challenge that I think we're all facing, right? But in dentistry, yes, it's right. I mean,
so when a patient comes to your practice for, let's say, a consult, what is a patient can anticipate? Yeah. You know, with your, how does your, let's say I'm the patient, and I'm calling your practice.
Definitely.
how does the process work? What happens?
I mean, I think you bring up a good point. Patient experience is so key because I work in a very competitive market in California, and we have a Clear Choice implant center. And the constant reminder that we get from our patients that come in is, they are looking us up on social media. They are looking us up. And, I can't tell you how many times I go into a room like, oh, I saw your video. And it's an information video. I'm not doing any dancing videos yet. Okay?
Come on.
No dancing videos, but in an information video, right? And they're seeing what you're doing. I think it provides some credibility to that patient, to put a bit of a connection between the doctor before they come in. And that's sort of nice that they've looked you up, and as long as you have content on there that is useful. And I think the experience from their phone call, I think having a highly skilled team is so important. In our Maxi course, one of the principles I do want to continue to maintain is that we involve the team at certain levels, because as a doctor, we can only be doing so many things. We're so reliant on our team. And if our patients get an experience after you spend so much money on advertising and marketing, and if they make a phone call and your team doesn't even know what you're doing in your office in the back in the operatory, and you just hired Mary, who's at the front desk, and you just had the receptionist leave, I think doctors forget that they need to be informed of what's happening and what services you provide, and taking the time to teach them and bring their skill level up. So it starts with that phone call, the records. Before I go into an operatory, my team has had a nice call with them. My treatment coordinators talked about what they need. We've taken a panoramic film. We've taken a CBCT. We've taken an intraoral scan. And we do these complementary in our practice just to build some rapport. And right off the bat, so patient is already seeing all these records up on the screen as I go in. And our treatment planning is done off the screen. I don't even glove up till towards the end of the appointment to take a look in their mouth. So it's a much more knee-to-knee discussion rather than open your mouth, lay back, let's see what's going on. And with that use of that information, I think patients really feel reassured, and spending that time as a dentist, not just having a treatment coordinator just barking out stuff, right? I mean, having that face-to-face is so important, and patients really can see your thoughtfulness and your empathy that you have for their scenario and their situation, and the level of skill that you have and compassion that you have to help them. I think that's key to have success in this. And it's an invasive procedure that we're going to probably be undertaking with these patients.
I couldn't agree more. We have to treat them as human beings and not the numbers. When I was going through the Maxi course modules, I put a lot of thought in getting the doctors the protocols that we use in our practices, and that we perfect every time. We tweak it. So we go through the marketing, how to handle a patient phone call, how they come in, and how the team approaches to the patient, what records to take, what's possible, what's not possible, and then that journey from the patient calling the practice to the delivery of the prosthesis, and how to keep that prosthesis for a long time, and patient healthy. I think that will be my objectives for all the doctors are coming into the course. I don't know whether you want to add anything to that. There's always room for improvement for everything, right? So, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I agree. I mean, our goal is to be able to provide an experience for our doctors that their ROI, their return on their time and their investment and their financial sacrifices that they're making from their practice to come to meet us in Dallas. We want to make sure at each session they're coming home with good values that they can implement and bring to their practice. So, I want to go as strong as saying that we guarantee that they're going to get a return on their investment within 12 months of the money that they're investing if they go out and follow the principles that we're going to bring to their practice. I mean, it's 100x multiple that they can achieve in their practice in a short period of years of the investment of time and energy that they're going to spend. We want them, the biggest frustration you see is when you have a failure, when your first implant fails. You do so many, and then once something just doesn't work out. And to be able to pick up, if you know your knowledge, what could have gone wrong, how to move forward, is I want to make sure our doctors go leave that program.
So I look at things in terms of units. So if if you, I'm pretty sure the U.S. market now is $4,000 an implant.
4,000
or 5,000,
yeah.
something,
yeah, 4 to 5,000, 4 to
in
6,000, yeah.
something in that range, right? At that level, if you do 4 implants,
Yeah,
you're already ahead of the game,
yeah.
right?
Well, we're going to provide free kits and complimentary kits and implants.
So that's what I was going to get to,
Yeah.
right? So now you have the basic components that you need to recoup that investment.
Yeah,
As the course goes along, we would like to have them go back and start looking for the patients, start doing the surgery, start doing the treatment plans
yeah,
that we can monitor. I feel like when I did my training, I was not given a kit or the implants or anything like that.
yeah,
So what happened was I did the training and we never started doing implants because I didn't have the parts and materials, right? I think it's important for any doctor or any student that takes any education, it's important for them to use that knowledge they gained right after. I mean,
Yeah.
there's some studies that say you lose, if you don't practice what you learn in 30 days or 60 days, you are not likely to proceed
yeah.
with that procedure that you just learned. And just like anything, your skills come from muscle memory.
Yeah, and I mean, to wrap that up here, I think we've taken that feedback into our modules. We've altered our presentation of our modules so that after the first session, doctors are getting the basics to get the kit, to get 5 implants for free and a free kit so that they can start placing those implants, screening those patients, send us their images, send us the x-rays, send us the CBCT, so by the time they come into module 2, they've got the implants in, and hopefully all 5, so that we can see how they're doing and monitor them through the year of our continuum.
Correct.
We can restore them, any challenges that come up, and so by the time you leave the module, even if you place 0 implants, that you come out of the module with 5 placed and restored implants, and you've already made up your investment in the course from the free kit, the implants, and your tuition is paid by collecting that $5,000 average from each implant. From the start to finish, a restoration, you made up your investment. So
Absolutely.
we invite you to come join us in Dallas.
Yeah.
We start in February 2022. Please visit 3dimplantinstitute.com to get more information. We've taken the likes of Dr. Shankar Iyer, Dr. Jim Murtowski, Dr. Louis Alfarage, Dr. Hilt Tatum, his knowledge, and really tried to develop something that's relevant for 2024, a digital workflow that you can implement these solutions in your practices. So
Predictable protocols.
yeah, thanks Hardeek.
Thanks, man. Thanks for your time.
Great. Yeah, it's been great to be here in Kochi, and we invite you to come to the next Future Dental Implant Expo that'll be happening. These meetings are great. Bring great minds from across the world, so we're pleased to be involved, and hopefully we are in the next time around as well.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.